Well, hello everyone. Welcome to this video blog. In this video, I'm going to explain the weekend drive which I did from Lucknow to Bangalore. It's a 2000 kilometer long journey and I covered it over weekend itself. That is with one night halt somewhere on the way. I covered a distance of 2000 kilometers and it's not something which I have done for the first time. I have done it before as well. I have traveled the Lucknow, Bangalore, Bangalore, Lucknow road trip frequently. In the past, and I have been doing it since 2018 itself. I once wrote an answer for this question too on Quora, and after that, a lot of people have tried to reach out to me, and I felt that there is a need for a video blog, and that's why I'm making this video. And I'm trying to explain that the things which is required for to have this kind of a trip done. And if there is any question, feel free to leave a comment, and you can, I'll try my best to answer the questions here. So before you embark on this journey of around 2000 kilometers, and if you plan to do it over 2 days or even 3 days with two break or one break, whatever is suitable for you, there are things which need to be careful about. And what are those things are that I'm going to cover over here. So there are three things which I will be going over. One is the prerequisite. The prerequisite is the preparation which is required as a driver from you. I am assuming you will be the one who will be driving this car, and the second will be from the perspective of car. How do you prepare your car for this kind of road trip? And the third will be from the co-passenger perspective, that whether the people who are traveling with you, whether how well they are prepared for it to have this kind of a commute done. So I'll quickly go to the prerequisites, and the prerequisites here are 9 of them, and I'll go one by one over all of them. What are those prerequisites? And I think you should be have these preparations done when you are planning this kind of a road trip here. And this is not just applicable for a road trip between Lucknow Bangalore. In fact, any road trip which you do for the longer duration, that's around 1000 kilometers or more, then you make sure that these kind of preparations you have already done, and it will be very helpful for your future references as well. So it is something which is applied not just for one trip but for all the other trips which you do in future. Make sure these kind of prerequisites have been taken care of. The first one is that make sure the car have EBD, ABS and TCS. These are all braking systems, and these braking system is basically available in almost all the cars since 2019. Most of the modern manufacturers, they come with these features. So EBD is your electronic brake distribution. It tries to make sure that when you have to suddenly apply the brakes, so the car doesn't get a rollover, or car doesn't lose the control, or car remains in the control. And this will come very handy when you are driving on those national highways, not expressways but national highways and state highways, because suddenly what happens is people immediately take a turn on the on the highway, or the cattle comes, even the two-wheeler comes on the way, and in a very short span of time, within seconds, you will have to do the maneuvering of the car. And in that maneuver, sometimes the car loses control, it often topples, or it often rolls over. To avoid that situation, make sure the car have this EBD, ABS and TCS. EBD is your electronic brake distribution, ABS is your anti-lock braking system, and TCS is your traction control system. TCS will come handy, always keep it on. There are buttons available in modern cars where you can turn off the TCS, but I suggest not to turn off TCS, because it comes very handy when you are driving in a surface where it is raining, because of this, if there is a raining, and there is a surface or a layer of water, that traction is usually lost on the highways or on the roads between the tire and the surface. So in that situation, TCS will come very handy. So make sure these things are there, and if these things are not there, that EBD, ABS and TCS in your car, then I would suggest that try to drive a relatively slow. Do not go beyond 80 by whatever means. After you go after the speed of 80, then braking will be difficult, specifically in the emergency situation, specifically in a situation that suddenly somebody has come on the highway when you're driving the car. So that's something as a first step which you need to take care of. The second is your TPMS. That's your tire pressure monitoring system. It's a real-time tire pressure monitoring system, and some of the cars in India offer this TPMS by default, although it should be a mandatory feature. But still, if it is not there in your car, then I suggest that you buy it from Amazon. on Amazon it is available. From there you can purchase it. It comes at around 3,000 to 6,000 bucks, and you can fit it in your car so that you have a real time tire pressure information. Because what happens is that suddenly you will be driving, and you there will be a nails which would have pierced in your tire, and you won't be aware, and only after traveling a few kilometers you will see that your tire has deflated, and or you will have to stop somewhere frequently just to check how is the tire pressure. To avoid that kind of situation, it is better to have the real time tire pressure information. For that, TPMS is a good thing. The third is your dash cam. It's a highly recommended device which should be there in your car. Why? Because if any accident happen, any mishaps happen, there will be some documented evidence. Even if you have hit somebody, or somebody has tried to hit you, or try to force, or something has happened, some kind of accident happens, then there will be a documented evidence which can be produced in front of cops or the legal authorities, so that you can be saved. Otherwise you will be in a serious problem and there won't be any evidence. And since you are traveling on national highways, you will go through a lot of rural areas. There is a probability that you might get attacked if you do not have sufficient evidence to defend yourself. So it is better to have a dash cam. The fourth is a tire inflator and puncture kit. So you need to know how to change your tires in your car. If you are making this kind of road trip, it is better to know it. And if you don't know it, I suggest that you practice it way before you go for this kind of a road trip, because this is a kind of a basic skills to how to apply puncture kit, or how to change the stepney. These are things which I suggest you should know, and should be good to have if you are making kind of a road trip here. The fifth one is the Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. There are a lot of maps which is available in the market, but I suggest the best one is the Google Maps only, and stick to this Android Auto and Apple CarPlay only. By default, in my car and some of the other cars which I have seen in the market, they are providing these here maps, or the kind of the other kind of this special kind of maps which is there, and I won't recommend to use those maps, because they are not reliable, and they can get you into the wrong route or wrong path in itself. So I suggest not to use those maps. Rather, just stick to the Google Maps. It is highly reliable. Apart from that, if you have the paid subscription of YouTube Music, it is even better, because you won't get bored, and you can frequently change your music, so that it will keep you some way occupied. Because for the most of the time you're just driving on the highway, and you do not want to doze off, or you don't want to get exhausted on the way. So it's better to have this paid subscription of YouTube Music. The other thing which is the basic check of the car which you have to do are these. First is the engine oil, brake oil, coolant check. You can just open the bonnet and you can check it yourself. Wheel alignment. There are maps there are these apps available on the car, for the cars which is there in the market, by which you can check the wheel alignment. If you don't have the apps, I suggest you take it on a highway, and try to just take your hand for a moment off your steering wheel, and see if it is car is moving somewhere on the left or on the right. If that's kind of thing which you are noticing, that car is not aligned on the way, then perhaps there is a wheel alignment issue, and you need to get it fixed. Headlamp, I'll suggest to go for the your this this not a halogen LED headlamp is something which I will recommend for, not the halogen ones, because they have a much better visibility, and headlamps will come very handy, specifically when you are driving on state highways, because the visibility will be relatively low. Suspension, check the suspension, that it is not very bumpy, and the suspension should be moderately stiff, so that car can stay planted on the highway. Don't go for the soft suspension. There are means available to soften your suspension, but I don't recommend it at all. The other option is for the brake shoes. Just check the brake health of the brake shoe. It should not be completely worn out. These are things which can be covered even in your by the doing a basic maintenance, or by offering your car for a maintenance before going for this trip. But these things you can do it yourself as well. The other is check the tire depth. I mean, the most of the accidents I have seen is because of the braking and for the tire only. So check the tread depth of your tire. You can just put your 2 rupees coin and see if half of the coin is inside the tire treads, then perhaps you have a sufficient amount of tread. Then you are good to go for your tires are basically healthy for it. The ninth is the emergency helpline number. what I have seen is that most of the car manufacturer provide this emergency helpline number, like Blue Link or Hyundai Assist, or I think Maruti Assist. There are a lot of options, but make sure that you have this helpline number handy with you. And then there is this car battery. Although it is not much of a required, because I don't think your battery will suddenly get lose of the power, because if you're driving frequently, then it will be frequently getting charged. So it is just an optional. Just check the health of the battery, that it's not getting drained quickly. The 11th is not nitrogen. I don't think you will require nitrogen at all, because if you are inflating your tire, by default natural air has around 60 to 70% of nitrogen in itself. So you don't need to go for or pay for the nitrogen. It is absolutely unnecessary. The seventh option here is which to check for the co-passenger, the people you are traveling with. So whosoever you are traveling with, make sure that person is comfortable to sit in a car for 12 plus hours. I suggest prefer to travel solo, or only with those people with whom you have done this kind of commute or done this road trips in the past. At least one or two road trips you must have done in the past with the person. Otherwise the person will get frustrated and it will make your whole journey quite difficult. So it is better to check with the co-passenger, that it should not be a person with whom completely new or completely unknown, or somebody who is not comfortable with for sitting for 12 plus hour in the car, or somebody who has never done a road trip or is not very comfortable with the road. Don't force on anyone, because basically they have to, overall for this 2000-kilometer journey, they have to sit in the car for at least about 27 hours. So, and definitely I won't recommend to do this with your parents or with senior citizens. They won't be comfortable at all. So do it only with the young ones, or with the ones who are comfortable to sit for 27 hours in the car, or are someone with whom you have already done kind of a road trip. Otherwise it gets frustrating. It will make the whole journey difficult, and it will be not a kind of a memorable one. Otherwise it's a kind of a very memorable long road trip journey which you'll have. The whole flora and fauna, and the change in the whole landscape which you experience on the way from coming from Lucknow to Bangalore, it's a kind of a one hell of an experience which you will remember for a lifetime. And I have done it around 2 to 3 times, so I remember that the whole change in the culture and the change in the signboards and the languages which I have noticed, specifically how the accent changes, the vernacular changes which I have noticed. That's simply a phenomenal experience for me, and I really always enjoyed it. Even the change in the weather, the change in the landscape, it's a beautiful experience. But make sure that you are traveling with somebody who has the same kind of liking or same kind of interest. If not, then perhaps the whole taste will go sour here. The eighth and ninth option, which is that I say your chewing gum and snacks, is kind of optional. If it is, it's good to have, but otherwise if you can't have it, then it's also totally fine with me. I mean, but chewing gum helps you keep alert, so that you don't suffer from fatigue, or that you start sleeping on the way, or start feeling sleepy on the way. If you ever feel that you are tired, or you're exhausted, or if you have not have sufficient sleep, then I suggest that take a break for around 30 minutes. So take a short nap. Even 30-minute short nap is more than enough. That will keep that will freshen you up. That will get help you get reduce your fatigue, and that way you will be able to do the commute properly. Now I will quickly go to the route which you have to take, and the route will be here. There are three options. One is I have done this travel from Ashiana to Electronic City, and I think that's the route which I'll tell you the routes which are there. So there are three routes basically. One is you can do it via you can do it via Jhansi. So this route is around 220 kilometers, but I won't recommend this route because there will be heavy traffic between Lucknow and Kanpur. In fact, there will be a huge jam of trucks on the Kanpur outer ring road, and there itself you will waste your good 2 to 3 hours. So I don't suggest, if you're traveling from Lucknow to Bangalore, you go via this route. This is not something which I recommend. After Jhansi, of course, you are strictly following NH44, and it is a perfect route. You'll thoroughly enjoy it. But before this itself, you will have a lot of time wasted in Kanpur itself. And since you are planning to cover this distance over weekend, that's in the in your over Saturday and Sunday itself. So that's not the route which I will opt for. That's not the route which I will suggest. The other option, the shortest path which is recommended usually, is via Chitrakoot. And I won't suggest this route as well, because I have covered, or I have been through this route, and what I have found is that, in after you turn right from Bachrama, you cross this Yamuna river, and over here near Chitrakoot there is a region where there is no network at all, and there will be no connectivity which will be possible. And once I did this route, and in that route what had happened is that, my tire got deflated. It basically got punctured because there was a lot of nails which were spread on this path over here somewhere, and there was no network, so I had to change the tire myself. And there I learned, and in fact my that old tire got completely damaged. This is something which happened more than 2 years ago. Since then I have avoided this route, although it is the shortest path, that is of around in 1900 kilometers, but still I'll say not to opt for it, because there is no network between over here to Chitrakoot. And in this region you're going through a forest, and if your tire gets punctured, then you're totally on your own. And my tire, in fact, at that time I remember the tire got completely damaged, because I was just driving. I did not have TPMS back then in my car, and I suddenly noticed that, my tire is completely gone, and the rims of the wheel were basically touching the road, and it has got so much heated up that, I had to change the stepney myself. So that's not the route which I suggest. The third option is via Prayagraj, and that's the route which I suggest that you should opt for. This is perhaps the most optimum route. It takes around 34 hours, but from my experience I have done this in 26 hours itself, and that's the route which I suggest you to go for. How you should plan it is that, you should leave at around 4 or 3 a.m. in the morning from your home in Lucknow, or from your place in Lucknow. Try to cross Prayagraj before before 6 a.m. itself. It won't take more than 2.5 hours to come from Lucknow to Prayagraj, because the roads are pretty good. I mean, there are lots of tolls on the way, and they are mostly 2 to 4 lane highway. Till here it won't take much time. Only in Prayagraj, if you do it get late, and you leave at around in the afternoon or in the evening, then you might have to see the traffic. But if you reach this Prayagraj region around 6 in the morning or 7 in the morning, then you won't see any traffic at all. And in this region here, what happens is that, after you have crossed it, you are going near Riva, and there is after crossing this Naini bridge, and near this border, I suggest to this Nari Bari area, I suggest to get your fuel refill done completely. Even get as much extra fuel as you can, because the petrol prices are cheaper in this area than in any other places where you will go in on the way. Means on MP, in Maharashtra, in Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, and even Karnataka, the prices will be around way higher. I mean, somewhere in Lucknow or in Uttar Pradesh, the price of the petrol was 95 to 96, but from MP onwards, the prices were somewhere in the range of 105 to 112. Highest I think I found in Andhra Pradesh. So I do suggest it, get all the fuel tank done in the UP itself, and near this Nalibari area, this Naribari area, before you enter this enter MP. And in fact, on this route there are a lot of petrol pumps available too. So my plan, like I said, it was to leave at around 3 to 4 in the morning, and I crossed Prayagraj at around 6. After around 6:30, I had crossed Prayagraj, and by around 7 or 8 a.m., I was in Riva. So, and I had stopped here on the way on Prayagraj just to take some photographs on this Naini bridge. Just had some old memories basically. And then I stopped next on Riva. Next, before Riva, I stopped here in this Naribari area just to get the petrol fuel done. Went for the full tank, and then I went to Riva. Did not enter Riva, I just used this national highway only. I took my second stop at Sioni. It was in the afternoon, somewhere around 2 to 3 p.m. I reached Sioni. I had my lunch over here. And after Sioni, I took my night halt at Adilabad. So after Prayagraj, this was the place where I took my halt. So I'll just put it on the map. So after Nagpur, I took my night halt at Adilabad, and Adilabad afterwards was electronic city. So on day one, if I ask me, I have covered around 1,000 kilometers. If I can show you over here, so the total distance which I did was around 1,000 kilometers, and on day two, I did the around 919 kilometers. So on day one it was 1500, and it was day two around 900 kilometers. And that's the approach which you should take. On the first day, have the longest distance covered, and on the second day, have the relatively shorter than the first day covered. So this way you will be able to cover the distance, and you will not get tired a lot. So coming back, so here from to your electronic city, and if I come back over here and I try to cover Adilabad, and my distance of Prayagraj. Yeah. So this was basically the route, and total 1950 kilometers. The Before I take the first stop, I was somewhere around 5 in the evening. I had entered Maharashtra. And be careful when you are entering Maharashtra, because there will be a lot of cops on the way, and they take a lot of bribes. I mean, I have seen this happening very frequently. In fact, in every trip I have, in fact, on the internet, even on YouTube, I have seen that people are complaining that the moment they enter Maharashtra, they all get harassed by the on this national highway itself by the cops, and they, for petty reasons, for any reason, they will take a lot of bribes from you. So this is the region which you have to be careful about. That's the time you are into Maharashtra. I mean, yeah, corruption is there. Corruption is relatively very high when you enter Maharashtra. So try to avoid this situation. So drive very carefully. The moment after you have crossed this Pench National Park, it's Pench National Park, which will be over here. And after this, you have to drive relatively carefully. If possible, drive slow. And then once you have crossed this over this, this Pandarkharwada area, or this after Wardha, you have crossed this Maharashtra border, then you are pretty comfortable, because then it is a very straight national highway which you have to follow. Though for the night halt at Adilabad, I remember, around 6 p.m. in the evening. I had started around, like I said, 4 in the morning, and reached around 6 p.m. That's around 14 hours drive, with 2 to 3 breaks. In fact, 4 breaks basically. One was for in your Naini Bridge in Allahabad. Second was in Riva for having tea and snacks, and third one was in Sioni for this for lunch. One time I got, I was stopped by the cops in near Nagpur, even on the outer ring road of Nagpur. That, I don't know, they just wanted to check the documents and everything. They tried to haggle with money that some papers are now missing for your car, like this fuel, this pollution card is missing. Then I tried to tell them that my car is brand new. For 1 year of the purchase of the car, you don't need pollution certificate. They were trying to haggle and annoy a lot. I just somehow just try to negotiate and try to escalate the matter. Then they just let me go. Otherwise, they literally, for each and every car which I have seen on this highway, they definitely are going to rip you off or try to extract some money. So that's a concern which is there. It's the Maharashtra part where they try to rip you off. After in the evening around 6, I went to my hotel. I booked the hotel online. The hotels are easily available. I mean, if you want to book it, don't have to book any do any advance booking. My suggestion for such a long trip, don't do the advance booking of the rooms. Once you reach near this area, I mean, after you have crossed Maharashtra, because anything is possible. The cop could have stopped me and tried to harass me, try to rip me off. Then perhaps I would have got no other option but to take a stay in Nagpur itself. And but thankfully, I mean, I could handle the situation. I could avoid the kind of harassments which you do. And this is where dash cam is very important. But if the cops are trying to make your life difficult, then perhaps you can save yourself from the situation. So thankfully I could reach Adilabad by 6 or 7 in the evening. If not, I would have to improvise and have to take the stay at Nagpur itself. And this is where I'm saying, don't book your hotel rooms in advance. Book it on the way, and there will be sufficient rooms which is available on Adilabad itself. That is because it's a kind of a small town. It's on the border of Maharashtra and Andhra Pradesh. And I remember booking for this room in Adilabad the moment I had entered this Telangana state itself. So once I entered, I just googled. I did not go for any booking sites like Make My Trip or Booking.com. Via Google itself, so I saw some rooms. I checked the reviews. Very important, do check the reviews. Google reviews are relatively reliable, and gave a call directly to them, and then I booked the room. And yeah, so I stayed over there. Pretty much nice stay. Didn't cost me much. Around 2,000 rupees was the night stay for the room, and some snacks and everything. It was around $1,000. That's all I paid. And then next day I left a little late. I left at around 8 in the morning, and that was the part of the plan itself, because I wanted to do the majority of the trip, the exhausting part of the trip, on the day 1 itself. And day 2 I wanted to go for the leisurely trip. And from here the view also improves. The scene around the highway gets better, because you'll be going through a minor ghat sections over here. The view is literally very beautiful, and it will be there till you reach your Kamma Reddy area. And after that, you will see that there is a change in the weather. There is a change in the soil. The soil is around you is a little black. It's the fertility is different. The agriculture and the flora and fauna is also a little different from what you had seen earlier. So that's kind of an experience which you have. You'll thoroughly enjoy this path. Specifically, you will enjoy here in Pench National Park, and you will enjoy from Adilabad till Kamma Reddy area. After that, once you enter Hyderabad, do not try to enter within the city. Instead, take their outer ring road, which is there. Outer ring road in Hyderabad is not very expensive, and it's very very efficient. Perhaps it's around 10 to 14 lane highway, so it's relatively good. And although it appears to be longer, it stretches your distance by 50 kilometers, but still it is better, because the moment you enter Hyderabad, there will be a lot of traffic and you will get frustrated. The more you have to use the clutch and brake, more you get exhausted on the trip. So better try to avoid it and try to stick to the national highway which is there, or this outer ring road. So if I left at around 8 in the morning from Adilabad, thoroughly enjoyed the show, had my breakfast at Kamma Reddy, some tea and snacks, and then around 11 or something, 11 or 12, I was near Hyderabad. And I left from I did not enter the Hyderabad. I went via outer ring road, and I reached Kurnool. I mean, that's the border of your Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. That's your Telangana, that's your Andhra Pradesh, somewhere around 3 to 4 p.m. And near Kurnool, this is very famous for its biryani and everything. So I had my lunch over there. After that, I took my first stop, that's Anantapur. There I took this beautiful picture right outside this Kia factory. That's the kind of my must have the stoppage place. I mean, every time I do this road trip, for instance 2018, I have seen the whole factory of Kriya coming up. Initially the Kriya had just this logo, and then the huge factory setup they have done, and the whole the whole change in the infrastructure near the Anandpur is kind of a thing for me to see and reminisce that how the changes happens when an investment come in that region. So after I reached Anantpur somewhere around I think it was 5:30 or 5 I was in Anantpur. And then I entered somewhere around 7, or here I entered Karnataka, and by 8 p.m. I was at my home. One thing important is that try to not fill your fuel from Madhya Pradesh or from Andhra Pradesh. So what I did is that I had my first full tank done over here. That's on the border of UP and MP. That was over here. near Riva itself. I had my full tank. The next full tank which I did was actually in Maharashtra. Petrol was relatively cheaper than what was there in MP. After Maharashtra, I did not fill my tank anywhere in Andhra Pradesh because it's most expensive. I think it was around 111 rupees in Andhra Pradesh, and then had just a small amount of fuel done in Telangana, sorry, in Andhra Pradesh, just a small amount. And then I did my fuel done in Karnataka, because Karnataka was the cheaper than Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, and your Madhya Pradesh as well. So the plan for the fueling should be, as I'll explain. First, it is that you should have the fueling done full tank in UP, near the border of UP and MP. That's the area where you have to do. I'll just quickly show you. Yeah, so it should be over here. Yeah, over here, and I'll quickly show. There are a lot of fuel tank which is available. Yeah, Nari Bari area. There you'll see a lot of fuel tanks. Once you are done, try to cross MP with that fuel tank. Once you have crossed MP, have the fuel refueling done in your Maharashtra. Maharashtra is still MP. It will be around 110 rupees. In Maharashtra, it is somewhere around 105 rupees. And after Maharashtra, you have the fuel tank done, and try to be careful. As I was saying earlier, be careful of the cops. They harass a lot. They try to rip you off. They try to take a lot of bribes. So try to be careful. Drive slow whenever you are in Maharashtra. Once you have crossed Maharashtra, then you go for refueling done in your Andhra Pradesh, in this Telangana itself. That's your area. Have a night stay in Adilabad. Try to have a refueling done. Do not by any means have the refueling done in this Andhra Pradesh. That's which happens after Anantapur. So in this area, which happens basically after Kunnur. What is it? Yeah, Kurnool. So after Kurnool, you are entering Andhra Pradesh. Avoid getting a refueling done over here, because they are very expensive, most expensive. I guess it's around 111 something. So avoid it completely. I had my fuel tank done in here in Telangana itself, and after that I had my fueling done in Karnataka, right on the border itself. I had my fueling done at Bagepalli itself. Then it's a straight national highway only. You immediately reach your airport. That's your Chikbellapur or the Nandi Hill area. After that, yeah, it's 1 hour further journey. So basically by 8 p.m. I was at my home. I left at around 4 in the morning on Saturday, and by Sunday 8 p.m. I was at my home in Bangalore. So to a distance of 2000 kilometers, total travel time in the time I had to spend in the car is around 26 hours. Although it is saying that it is around 35 hours, but it's basically assuming that you will be driving at the speed of 50 or 60. But on national highways, if you have this ABS CBD, you can go even up to 90 or 100 kilometers. Don't go beyond 120. It's not safe at all, specifically in UP and MP, because cattles and these two-wheelers are certainly going to come on the way, and there is a high probability that you will meet an accident. At least until you are not entered Telangana, do not try to overspeed, and be prepared that there is a situation that suddenly a two-wheeler or a tractor or even just some random guy or cattles, they will try to cross, and they will not check the road, and they'll just suddenly try to take a turn, and you might have to immediately maneuver there. So be careful till then. After that, you see that some very healthy driving practice which I have seen after Telangana, that people are mindful of the way they are trying to drive, at least, and they are not trying to suddenly apply brakes or suddenly taking a left or right turn. So that's something which I have found there. Now I'll just go to the last aspect, and that is basically the cost. The cost here which I can tell you is this. So that's the cost which is the total cost for the travel. It takes, the toll amount for me was 2970, and I am saying that this toll via Allahabad, that's around 1900 kilometer, which it was saying earlier. You can just quickly see for 1950 kilometers, the toll was around 2970. Don't blindly trust this thing, and that the toll amount which it is saying. It's saying somewhere around 3000 something. But it is not 3000. It's around 2900 something, which I have found. Petrol for me was 13340. I'm using compact SUV for this purpose for the drive, and it can be depend on you. For me, it is around rupees to 6.5 rupees per kilometer. So that's the cost which is there. Stay and snacks. I mean, 2000 rupees was for the hotel room, and 2000 was for all the snacks on the way, which I had for me and my family. As total, it is coming around 20,310 rupees. It is factoring everything, and that's basically really, a little bit more expensive than having a travel by a flight, because in flight the average flight ticket is around 6,000 to 7,000 one way for one person. But in peak season it does get to around 10,000 for the flight. But if you have three people, or if you have two and some young kid, then perhaps it becomes this option becomes a cheaper. But very important, do it only with those who are comfortable with traveling, who enjoy the road trips, who are can at least quietly or without getting frustrated, without getting annoyed, can sit in the car for good 26 to 27 hours. Not everybody can, but thankfully I have people who were comfortable with this kind of a trip, and they enjoy it. Definitely I'm not gonna do this with my with this kind of road trip with my parents or any senior citizen, because they won't be comfortable with it. And yeah, you thoroughly enjoy the whole journey. I mean, you enjoy the changes in the demography, in the changes in the geography, which you notice. You suddenly you see the Painch National Park, you see the the change in the plantings, the agriculture, the forest, and the change in the weather. In fact, the most interesting change you will notice is the change in the signage, or the signboards which is on the way. So you will read a lot of Hindi till you have entered you are near the MP border. After that, each region, after every 100 kilometers, you will see a change in the local language of the signboard. So first it will be Marathi, then it will be your Telugu, then it will be Kannadiga. So these are the changes, and the changes in the weather which you notice, and the whole terrain which you there. That's something which I thoroughly enjoy, and that's also a time when I get to reflect on my life. I get to have my me time. So that's the reason I do it, and I do it because I truly enjoy the experience. And do it only if you enjoy it, because from the cost perspective it is not a great idea. You can see it right in front of you. From the cost perspective it is not a great idea, but for those who really enjoy the road trip, who enjoy the exploring new places, or want to see the gradual change in the culture, the vernacular, the sign, the languages, the flora, the fauna, the weather, the terrain, from the from plains to the those tiny hills, and then hills to the forest, and the forest to the again some lots of industrial corridors. So if you want to see those changes, the gradual ones, the dressing of the people, I mean, if you want to experience those things, only then do this kind of a road trip. Otherwise, I think if you might get not enjoy the experience at all. So that's my take. That's what something which I wanted to brief, that with these travels, these are the things which you enjoy, that you get to experience the diversity of your country, the kind of changes you truly experience, that the how things are getting modified. I mean, I remember it very categorically. When you are in Uttar Pradesh and all, okay, so you have people who are mostly into the cycles, or even in the bullock cart. You will see the bullock carts, and they are very happy, they are very chilled out. The moment you cross MP, and afterwards you won't see bullock carts, you won't see cattle on the way. I don't know why, you just don't notice them at all. The moment you enter Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka, you see lots of factories on the highway itself. That on the left hand side you have this Kia factory, then there are a couple of other factories you will notice. Even in the agriculture produces will be different. On the UP you will see lots of rivers. I mean, you cross Holy Ganga river, you cross Yamuna river. In fact, you are going via Allahabad and you will see the whole sangam of all the rivers. And if after that if you enter MP and all, you'll see the change you'll see some of these tiny hills on the way, on the both side of the way. And if you stop somewhere and you take just take some drone shots or some photographs, you'll see that how the people, the language, although they are speaking Hindi, but still their languages are different, their vernacular, the dialect is different, and you'll see just on day one itself. I mean, on the travel itself, you are noticing it, and that's the kind of very fulfilling experience which I have. I mean, that's something which I truly enjoyed. That how within one country so many countries are living together, and if you want to have that experience, that's something for which you need to have a road trip. For the road trip, what I suggest is to use a naturally aspirated petrol engine. Diesel engines and large cars will not be fit because we don't have that kind of infrastructure, that kind of a road that it can commute everywhere. For me, I used Hyundai Venue for the drive because I found that it can fit anywhere. In fact, for this kind of road trip, I purchased a Hyundai Venue. So this was it. It's not a promotion of the car. It's just trying to brief that what was the rationale behind buying that car, because that's the only car which I could take anywhere, and I could do the frequent road trips with. With diesel engine, with turbo engine, there are some concerns when you do this kind of road trips over a weekend itself. So yeah, this is it. Please feel free to leave a comment. No need to subscribe. I'm not your YouTuber or a YouTuber. I'm not here to look for any like, comment, subscribe or anything. I'm just trying to share what I know, and since I've been doing it for quite a long time, so I felt that it's better to start giving back to what all you have learned already. If there is any questions, please feel free to leave your comment, and I will try to reach out. No need to reach out to me personally. That's something which happened with me. I mean, earlier that I tried to answer these questions on Quora, and people were trying to personally reach out to me. I would suggest that just have your questions on the comment section so that others can benefit from it. Okay, thank you. I hope this should help. Thank you again.